Many business leaders have unrealistic expectations about what AI can do. AI can do a lot to drive business value, but you need to think about it the right way. Hi, I'm Joshua Ebner. I'm a 20-year expert in AI, machine learning, and data science with experience at companies like Apple, Bank of America, and Ogilvy. In this video, we'll clear up the myths about ultra smart AI. I'll show you how to think in terms of useful AI, and I'll give you a set of practical rules for building AI systems that drive results. So, let's maybe start with the misconception. A lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders have this idea that AGI is going to change their business and that they'll need something like AGI to add a lot of business value. In fact, the idea for this video came to me after talking with a bunch of entrepreneurs. I'm in a really large group of entrepreneurs, several hundred people. And in a thread about AI, we were talking about the possibility of building something like a Alex Hormozy AI. Someone had suggested the possibility of doing this, taking transcripts and interviews, some of his books. You might be familiar with Alex Hormozy. He's a famous business YouTuber. He provides business advice. He's actually a really smart guy. He's been very successful in business. And I even mentioned the future dream of maybe building a chatbot based on Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's famous business partner. Now, in that thread, I essentially said, hey, doing something like that will be very difficult to do. It'll be very challenging, even to get close. You'd have to gather the data, structure it properly, do a lot of training. You'd probably need to use some sort of reinforcement learning with the actual human being involved to really get it right. And everyone sounded very discouraged about it. And on the other hand, while you had one set of people that were thinking in terms of building really advanced artificial intelligence based on a human being, other people were saying AI is nothing more than a parlor trick, a toy. And what I'd suggest is that if that's the bar, building an AI system that's as good as Charlie Munger, then everything is going to look like a failure. It doesn't need to be that way, though. Between a toy AI system, a parlor trick, and a perfect AGI or a perfect simulation of a brilliant human being, there's a huge middle ground. And within this middle ground, I want to talk about what I'd call operationally useful AI. These systems don't need to be perfect, they just need to be able to drive business value by helping people or processes perform better. So these types of AI systems can be useful to businesses by improving operational speed, decision making accuracy, operational consistency, and so on. So, with that in mind, let me dive in a little bit more and give you a framework for what I mean by operationally useful. It largely has three major parts. Number one, the AI system needs to be able to hit some performance target on a particular task. So whether you are predicting churn or upsell propensity, you're predicting future product demand, generating copy with the purposes of increasing click through rates or conversion rates, you need to have some sort of metric that you're measuring, and the system needs to be able to hit some sort of performance mark or benchmark. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can actually set a performance benchmark for an AI or a machine learning system. I'll maybe set that aside for right now because it is a separate topic in and of itself. Suffice it to say, your AI or predictive system needs to be able to hit some sort of performance benchmark. Second, your system needs to be cost effective in its operation. So, if your system, for example, maybe can hit some sort of performance benchmark, but it's way too expensive to run and ultimately fails to deliver ROI, it's not going to be a very good system. So, you're looking for systems that can hit those performance benchmarks that I just talked about while also being cost effective in such a way that they deliver return on investment. And you need to think about this in terms of not just costs, but broader resource constraints around people, infrastructure utilization, and so on. Third, an operationally useful AI system needs to be able to integrate into your processes and workflows. If you have a demo that kind of runs really well in the abstract, but fails to properly fit into your real world workflows, it's not going to work. So, in order for a system to be operationally useful, you actually need to be able to fit it into your business processes, standard operating procedures, and your decision loops. Next, let's talk about how you can start using this right now. First, stop asking whether AI can do something perfectly and start asking whether or not you can build an AI system that hits a performance benchmark well enough that it can drive ROI. That brings us to my next recommendation. You need to find tasks that have clear success metrics. One of the first things that you're going to do in almost every AI project is try to identify a metric that you're trying to drive or change or improve in your business. And my third recommendation is prototype first and deploy what works. So, in any AI project, you're typically going to start with a prototyping phase where you're just trying to see if you can get close to that performance benchmark that I've talked about a couple of times. The prototype is just trying to test if you can get to that benchmark or close in a sort of small scale. If you can prove that you can get close or even beat that benchmark, then you'll build it out into a hardened AI system, scale it up, and deploy it with all of the other AI engineering that's involved in a full scale project. Once you start building AI systems that are operationally useful, practical, rather than perfect, the next step is to think bigger. Because the real winners of the AI age won't just use AI tools, they're going to build their companies around AI. So, in the next video, I'll show you what it really means to be an AI first company and how leaders are structuring their data, people, and decisions to stay ahead of their competition. Check it out here: The Rise of AI First Companies.